What's up? What's up? It's your man Rico. Just chilling. Now, what is all this? These damn reflections. What's up, y'all? It's your man Rico. So the opinion is continue to like, share, and subscribe. Hold on a second, y'all. I have to wipe this thing off. I still didn't get it off. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day. It's been much open discussion. I want to hear y'all thoughts. How was your Father's Day, Dads? How was your Father's Day? And, would you get your dad? It's fun. Still got about an hour or so before Father's Day is officially over. But the survey is out. The conclusion has been reached. Um, people have as much get out and go or much fervor for Father's Day do Groundhog Day, according to rapper Plies. Hell, they might be hitting on something. What did y'all do? Did y'all enjoy the weekend like normal people do? You know, maybe hit a park, attend a professional game. Did you go to one of these festivals? I went to one yesterday. It was really fun. Shout out to the Sunflower Soul Festival that was held here in Dallas. And one of the parks downtown that I've been to before. It's been a minute. And you know, when they show the advertisements, they seem a little bit on Instagram, but you see them in real life. It was a cozy, quaint little park. Had enough people in there doing their thing. Music was cool. It was just, as they say, it was the vibe. And I enjoyed it. Had a couple of cocktails and just kind of looked around and checked out the spot. But of course, it was making the news all weekend, where the protests all country. Some were anti-ICE and some were against anti-Trump, or they called it No Kings protests. I still just think all of that was just silly. You say you live under democracy. You say you live under a regime, but yet you get to come out and protest. Now, it's supposed to be peaceful, but the ones in LA, and I think in Seattle, those weren't peaceful protests. They're tearing up shit. And you ask them why, they go all around the world, cannot give a specific reason why. All of that, all these protests. I mean, reportedly 200,000 people came out in LA, and I saw a video on the news in Dallas on yesterday. Thousands of people out there. Matter of fact, I told y'all about it. The event that I wanted to go to there in downtown Dallas because of that dumbass protest. And I'm not one who's against protesting at all, but I don't look at this one as a legitimate one. These are people who are actually trying to advocate for people who broke the law. Whole group, and they're coming out. So, what I love about social media, you get varying perspectives, and varying perspectives are allowed, regardless of what other folks try to say. We live in a regime. Don't live in no goddamn regime. It's a regular old American that lets even foreigners come over and disrespect the president of this country. But you know they never go to their home countries and disrespect their own prime ministers, their actual dictators and actual communist dictators and regime rulers. But they come over here under this democracy that they say is not existing or under threat. They come over here, not only burn the flag while they're waving their home country's flag. I'm telling you, this shit is weird. You wave your home country's flag, burn this flag, and then you totally disrespect the president of this country, who you're so upset about for coming after you for breaking the law, which is breaking in the country. I don't know why that appears to be so difficult for so many people. And the easiest example I can give is you break into somebody's home when they're not home, and you eat their food, you wash their dishes, you even clean up the house there. Cool. But then they come home and to their surprise, like, hey, how the hell you get in here? And you say to them, oh man, just came through the window. And you try to put them out of your home, and they start yelling and screaming and cussing at you and sitting back on your couch with prop their feet up on your coffee table and tell you, I'm not going anywhere. That's what's going on. It takes a lot of goddamn nerves. And also, if y'all believe that many people came out on their own for these protests, I have some swampland in Oregon that I would love to tell you. Love to. Swampland in Oregon. Y'all know all this shit is set up. It's a practice. There are people, of course, there are people behind the scenes paying people to protest. It's happened in all major protests we've had in this country. So this right here is they're really trying to prove a point, you know, or they're really expressing their anger because they lost the 24 elections. This shit is crazy. Instead of just saying, hey, Democratic leadership, okay, we lost because obviously our voters didn't come out for us. Pretty much what it is. But y'all decide to get on TV and all this and wreck shop the country, get the country all riled up using the national mainstream white media to get the country all wild up to try to make sure that any accomplishment that this president has, it'll be overshadowed by your bitching, whining, and accusation. A racist, he's a racist. And I always say to people, we've had at least 44 white men as president. And all of a sudden, he's the racist that was elected. So George Washington, he doesn't count. Andrew Jackson, Andrew Young, they don't count. Andrew Jackson, Andrew Johnson, and others out there that murdered millions of people. But they're not the racists, huh? People say the weirdest things. And we're not paying attention to what's really going on. We're so busy, not me, but so many are caught up in his personality. I didn't know that in order for a country to be run well or a company to be ran well, you have to like the CEO. Who does that? Who even promotes that nonsense? Well, if you don't like your CEO, they ain't hey Madison Green, what's up? They ain't they ain't a good leader. You know, I've never heard of that. A lot of people go to work every day, working for men who are probably avowed racists, but it don't bother you because, well, you get your money, you go home and pay your bills. So why the fuck should it matter to us or to the rest of the country because you say the man is a racist? We all should act like you do. And if we don't, there's something wrong with us. So that means you're trying to tell people how to think, and you badger people who don't want to cuss the president out. Those of us who don't want to cuss the president out, there's something wrong with this part of America. 77 million people didn't think anything's wrong. And then what's this other shit? Well, that's what y'all voted for. Duh. That's what they voted for. So you saying that to the legal immigrants or the legal Hispanics, the legal Latinos, it's almost an oxymoron. Well, y'all got, it was y'all voted for. Duh. They voted for this. I like to assume whoever you vote for, you voted for it, right? So let me say this to those of you who are on the left side or you're liberal and all of this. So did you vote for men to go in women's locker rooms, or men to compete in women's sports, or your tax dollars to go for gender reassignment surgery for men in men's prisons? That's what you voted for, because that's what Biden and Harris is all about. Did you vote for U.S. senators and congresspersons to go all over Africa and try to force homosexuality on that culture? And if they're in there, you oppose sanctions on them? Did you vote for that, Democrat? So I can go down the list. Did you vote for the Undersecretary of Education to be dressed like the Quaker Oats woman? Yeah, what's that old fool's name? Dressed like a chick on his inaugural day? for his new job. So Democrats, y'all voted for that. See, whatever y'all say that people on the right voted for, well, let's see what you voted for. Y'all voted for 5-year-old kids to be able to get sex change surgeries without their parents' permission. That's what y'all voted for. Luckily, more normal heads prevail. So if you don't want to be told what you voted for, stop telling people what the fuck they voted for. Who you supposed to be? It is what it is. Just do better. Try to make it happen in the midterms in 26 next year, and try to do better in 28. Get you a candidate that y'all want to vote for, and try to advise the Democratic National Committee. Don't just throw anybody in there. Y'all do a legitimate search and have an actual Democratic National Convention instead of just throwing somebody in there. Y'all just vote on them because they told y'all to. Can y'all do that? So stop telling people, well, that's what you voted for. Let's talk about what you fucking voted for. And it's not that pretty. Y'all voted for trans to go read their love and sex stories in elementary schools. Y'all voted for open borders where they came on in and went straight to black neighborhoods, and the Democratic mayors and city councilmen gave them all of the taxpayers of those black folks in Chicago, in Illinois. I'm sorry, not Illinois, in Aurora. Who else? In New York. We watched them just, it was crazy. So you want to go down the list of what y'all fucking voted for? Y'all talking about these cuts. Well, they've always been cuts. And y'all crying about DEI. Well, y'all know who is affected? So I understand the folks look like me crying about DEI. And let me tell y'all what's going on. Again, let me help you. What this president ran on was pretty much pushing everything to the state, and they said less government involvement. That's always been a Republican mantra. Less government involvement. Yeah. And so what they're doing is trying to push things back on the states. So when they cut federal programs, they must push them to the states, because I know it was terrible. They cut the funds of, let's say, Job Corps, federal funds. So you know what was supposed to happen? The states were supposed to go and pick that up. Yeah. Locally, those of you who are really upset about the Job Corps programs, y'all supposed to go to your city councilman, your state representatives, and register to your governors to say, hey, go into our coffers and let's open that up. Let's get that. Let's fund that. That's what he's trying to do, get people funded through the states. Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on that, because I think about during the civil rights movement, when the states had all these awful governors, a lot of these racist governors, pretty much they're doing what they have now. But there were more of them then, up until the 1965, 66, or what have you. And the federal government had to step in. Just like the state wouldn't call the National Guard. The federal government had to step in California. But then he want to act like he was just done such a disservice that Gavin know nothing of. I don't know what the fuck his name is. Well, we took the power from the governor. Well, you want to sit there and let him tear up the whole goddamn city, Governor Newsom, all because you want to make a point that you want people to think that you're the candidate for the Democratic Party in 2028. So you're going to let them act a fool like that? And so to prove a point, you mean he's another one. And these congressmen and women on the left side, y'all hate the president much that y'all want to see this country burn to the ground. That's the weirdest shit. And see, with this immigrants thing, this legal immigration, you see that, and people say, well, they're working and paying taxes, or they voted for this. First of all, illegals can't vote. And number two, if they're working, I don't know how they're paying taxes if they're illegal. So somebody's playing games, probably on both sides. More likely, this stuff benefits the Democratic Party. But to say to these Republican and Democratic business owners, this is what I want to happen next after you kind of go through the whole go through the whole ICE raids and all of that. I want Bundy, the U.S. Attorney General, I want her to start getting a list of all these business owners and start hitting those companies up, hitting them with warrants, hitting them, charging them with probably treason to their country. Because what they're doing is, instead of giving Americans jobs and paying them wages that we know we're supposed to, Americans not gonna work for no fucking $11 an hour. Not picking oranges, not pulling up tomatoes. If that's the case, give them the money that the black farmers owe, what farmers are owed. The black farmers are owed, and they can do this shit on their own. But any average American will work for $25 an hour. But why? But you want that labor. You want that cheap labor. And I want Pam Bundy to get these businesses and start in Napa Valley, start up there with their asses. And hell, any black person, any American will work, but you can't pay wages. That's un-American. Now, if they were in that third world country where they work for pennies, that's the economy of their country. But over here, no. So don't call people lazy and this stupid shit. Well, who gonna pick the apples? Well, anybody would for $25 an hour and pay people. Hell, some folks will work for 20. But they're not gonna work for $11 picking oranges and apples and shit all day. And stop, if you're gonna hire some people to do it, make sure they have all of the necessary documentation. If they're not born here, naturalized citizens, well, at least make sure they have their documentation in order, green cards or whatever they're supposed to have. Around here scamming the American people. Big business in this country. Hire people who live here, but you can't pay them slave wages. America's not gonna have it. That's why they say, hell no, I'm not going over there. Hell, I'm not gonna dig that ditch. Hell no. But then you want to take it as justification. Well, you know, Americans don't want to work. They do, motherfucker. They do. But you're not gonna pay us like we're in Guatemala. We're Americans, remember? All these high-ass real estate, gas and stuff. Well, it's going down now. But still, we don't have to. If you say America's not a third world country, well, goddamn it, stop trying to pay us like that. That's why people reject a lot of these positions. But give it a try though. Let's say, hey, we got openings, because people say, well, you know, all them people deported. I don't see no Americans run to those jobs. How about you advertise them? We need people to pick crops, starting at $25 an hour. I bet you'll run out of applications, because people do work and they want to work in this country. But you can't cheat us like you do people who are running from a country that couldn't pay them this money. That's the problem I have with that whole argument. Well, you know, Americans, they don't want to work. You're a goddamn lie. So Pam Bundy, get on it. Get to these corporations that's hiring these illegals and paying them literally nothing. Well, they're paying a lot of them $15, I'm sure. But most importantly, they'd rather hire them than hire black folks. And any other American who dared to say, hey, I'm an American, I want them 25 starting off. Or let's say 24, 22.50, 24. Something where they can pay some rent, have a home, raise some kids. You can't, you know, and when they don't have to live 10 in a damn house. Y'all think that's funny? Y'all think that's cool? That's what people do when they come from somewhere else, because especially when they sneak over, they ain't got no choice but to make it happen for themselves. We're not supposed to be treated like that. We don't have to live 13 and 10 and with a house, and then people then you have the nerve to use that as like see, that's what they do. See, they help each other. You know, they live 10 in a house, then they work, then they go get another house, then they do this and this. Why the fuck we have to do that? We live here. You understand? Shit is stupid. So we don't have to do what other people do. And all the parades about this shit, all of it's very telling. I need black folks to really pay attention to this, because they're getting a lot of funding for nothing. They're paying a lot of people to fill up the streets. You know, and there are a lot of police systems, except for Florida. Florida's not playing. People got mad with that sheriff said. You bring your ass down here, you throwing rocks at the police, you doing this and that. We got something for your ass. And people didn't like it. Well, I had a woman say, well, the sheriff said he threatened to shoot people who want to make an impact. That's not what that sheriff said. He said, no, we're down here in Florida, we're not having it. In the state of Texas, we're not having it. But y'all go, the governor here's not having it. The police department and the sheriff department there in Florida's not having it. Wherever it's what, South Florida's not having it. And the reason is because they don't have a cause to be doing all this protesting except for a bunch of hidden hands on the left side. They're mad because this guy is president. And if y'all look past what the media said about him, get past him and his personality, he's doing a lot of cool stuff. Now, it's unfortunate that Israel, and I don't understand why every president bows or takes a knee to Israel. Could somebody explain that to me? Why we give so many billions of free dollars to Israel? Israel's not our goddamn country, not our leader, is not anything in this country. What's up, Bill? Fuck all of our presidents, not just Trump, it's all of the presidents. Obama, all of them have all kissed Israel's ass, and somebody's gonna tell me what that's about. They ain't gonna have the nerve to shoot missiles at somebody, and they trying to work peace talks. And so I'm telling you, y'all pay attention. Because one thing about Trump being the president, it's shining light on a whole lot of stuff that we never even paid attention to. There are people who purposely want war because it makes money. Trump said, I don't want any war because we can make money, we can make a deal. The Democrats want war, Israel wants war. Palestine is just Palestine. They didn't want to bring up Iran. Why don't you let Iran have it out? But they're trying to make a deal. Iran don't really want that smoke. And I don't know why people keep fucking with Iran. Iran is like, when you punch, like let's say you get into a fight in the bathroom, in the boys' bathroom when you were growing up, y'all was in that jacket. You keep hitting the dude with all you got, but he wouldn't fall. That's Iran, so you might well stop hitting him and make friends with him. Shit. Like, look, I can't whoop his ass. I done bombed him, I done kicked him in his ass, I done slapped him, I done uppercut him, I done drop kicked this motherfucker to the next stall, but he won't stay down. That's Iran. So why the hell would y'all try to pick a fight with Iran? And Iran don't back down from nobody. And Israel is a bully because they get all this from not only American, but other European countries. Everybody's kissing Israel's ass. Y'all talk to me. What is that about? All of the presidents, all of our presidents have kissed Israel's ass. And in this country, they try to make you kiss Jewish ass in this country. I don't like that. Like, they're so precious, like they're so untouchable, and they do some awful things in this country. They do. They created pornography. They fund this rap music that the inner city used against each other, weaponized against each other. And a lot of these damn schools that don't allow anybody else in there, they fund them. These colleges and universities that Trump is on their ass because they got that good old white boy, good old white girl, good old Jewish club going in Harvard and Yale and Stanford and all of that. That's why they're mad. Pay attention to why these people are mad. He's busting up the good old boy, good old white boy, the old school. He busting it up. The liberal lesbian white women are upset with him. The LGBT is pissed. Because one thing about it, Trump doesn't give a shit about all that LGBT nonsense. And they're upset about it. I'm telling y'all, pay attention to who's really in these rallies. And black folks are not in these rallies, not supposed to be. Because rallies are about some other stuff. I saw a young woman from my hometown of Memphis. And she said, I've seen protest marches and all of that. I've never showed up to one, but this one is my first time ever attending a rally in this city. And I don't even think she lived in Memphis, but she spoke on the local news there. I said, the city of Memphis in the last 5 years has had some very legitimate protest marches about police brutality, injustices, and all of that stuff. You never showed up to neither one of those? But then you showed up when it's about illegal immigrants. And then, of course, they were waving rainbow flags at this No King parade. There I go. No King protest. Now she shows up. Of course she showed up. Because about homosexuals. and illegal immigrants. Pay attention to what people are saying. Pay attention to who's in these marches and who's in these these demonstrations. Probably got paid $200 a day to protest. Bill Wojo, I believe it, something like that. Because it's a bunch of nonsense. See, I pay attention. I hear all the noise around me, but I still focus on who's saying what and who's doing what. It's easy to pay all your attention to Trump and all this other stuff. And also, when we talk about these cuts, y'all not even paying attention. Because we just throwing in narratives. These Democratic, your congressmen and your congresswomen and all these folks. Well, they're cutting Medicaid, they're cutting this, cutting deposit health care, and they're cutting. When they said we're gonna find these cuts and make them, every administration has made cuts to Medicaid, made cuts to welfare, have always made cuts across the board. So why is these cuts so significant? They're the same cuts, and then all of a sudden, but why are these Democrats really showing their ass about this time? They've mentioned here and there, but they're really going in. They're trying to find anything they can to try to dirty up this man's legacy, and he's doing some cool stuff, I think. And the Medicaid's gonna hurt the poor children, gonna hurt the children. I say, all right, let me let y'all in on something. This is just my opinion. This is Rico the Opinionist. I'm Rico the Opinionist. I share opinions because we all have them. So I use my platform to talk about, share opinions. And so Joe says, who's funding these protests? Follow the money. Exactly. And I'm telling you, you're gonna run into some George Soros Democratic stuff all the way. But what y'all don't understand is a lot of stuff that Trump is cutting and they're going through that, it's a lot of money that's funded toward these two groups, illegal immigrants, and three groups, feminists, and LGBT. All that money, see, for me as a black man in America, I said, look at all this money that's going to them, but they're all talking about saying no to reparations. Hell, our reparations are going to these illegal immigrants. Y'all know how many billions of dollars that comes out of our pockets as Americans in total that go to people who didn't pay a dime and shit? That's what he's cutting, in my opinion. I think he's cutting through the fat, getting them off these rolls, because I think each state, each lawmaker is passing, trying to put together a bill that says all undocumented immigrants can no longer receive free health care, food stamps, and all that. He says Bill says that's how they frame it. Evoke up emotional responses out of people easily manipulated sheeple. Exactly. And it is. It is knee deep on these damn airwaves. Knee deep. But he's doing this and blah 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 and blah. Jasmine Crockett's leading the crowd. And it's so unfortunate. But luckily, I have my own mind. I see what I see, and then I read a comment on Instagram. Someone says, "Well, these cuts, and all these cuts in SNAP program and Medicaid is really going to devastate the poor." I responded to him, this person. I said, "The poor is already devastated. They're poor. What the fuck? They be saying the weirdest shit. They're already devastated. God damn it." Hell, I am too. I'm devastated. Part of the poor. Can't get jack. I said, "What I do? Get some chick pregnant around here?" But then I wouldn't be looked at favorably as a single parent. I'd be looked at as a deadbeat dad. Damn. Told you, we know who get through the loopholes. We won't say it out loud. Hell. My thing has always been for the poor children. The children, wait a minute. Don't they have parents? And why the hell are people reproducing if they can't feed them? Michael Jackson said it 35 years ago. If you can't feed the baby, then don't have the baby. People always crying and my people lying, talking, still and lying. A baby slowly dying. Wanna be starting something, bam, 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 and bam. But they still do it. So that's what this stuff's about. But what do you think? Yeah. And I say, let them cook. Let them cook. Let them cook. Because the nonsense has to stop. But I want Black America to look at this as, you know, this is what unity looks like. Whether be that as it may, that there are a lot of paid protesters out there, and there are tons of them. Because a lot of money backing this nonsense, all because they want to dirty up. He's not going to be president anymore, and you're not going to what the bullshit they kept saying. He needs to you can't impeach him. So just stop it. Let him cook. Hell, he's already proven that he's not a warmonger. He doesn't like war. When he was in his first term, he stopped the people from fighting. And I'd be damned, as soon as he lost in 2020, the Democrats got some more wars cooked up. I'm telling y'all, the war pays, and they pay their partners, they pay each other. Now, I'm not speaking like the Republicans aren't some dirty money grabbing bastards. We're always paying attention to what they do, and we should continue, because in their own little corners of the world, in various states, some racist, white supremacist bastards, most, if not all. But definitely, what's been happening in these last 4 years is something that we haven't been doing, that is paying attention to how Democrats operate. We always told, look at them old evil Republicans. Yeah, we looked at them, and we dissected their ass like frogs in 8th grade biology class. But now we're dissecting these damn liberals. They're awful people. They're always talking about freedom of speech and democracy. Do y'all remember when you said anything about Biden and Harris, Facebook took your damn page off? And when Mark Zuckerberg was when he was running it, talking about quelching people's speech. That's all they know, is taking people's speech. That's all they do. You say anything about LGBT, whatever, they lead the charge to try to get you canceled. It's amazing how this works. But they all see the people, it's called major projection. Whatever they accuse this president of, even this administration, that's what they're doing. But they think they're so slick with it. Like Malcolm said, it's the wolf and the fox. We know who the wolf is, because the wolf comes in with his teeth, and the fox comes in like he's a friend. Hey, everybody, hey. You know, let's say you own the chicken coop. You own the chicken coop, and you guard the chicken. The wolf comes in, we're gonna eat those damn chickens. And then, so we get the sticks and guns and run the old wolf off. Then the fox come, ooh, hey, everybody. Ooh, I don't eat no chickens. I'm a vegetarian. Ooh, y'all did the right thing by running that wolf off, because, ooh, he keeps eating people's chickens. I help y'all guard them. So y'all, and then no motherfuckers like, oh yeah, come on in. Y'all come on in. I mean, you say, yeah, come on in, wolf. You say, double standard rules for thee, but not for me. Exactly. And so y'all let the fox in the coop, in the chicken coop, in the hen house. All of a sudden you hear some. They're like, damn, they're really enjoying having the fox in there. Then after a while, it gets really quiet. About 20, 30 minutes or so, the fox leaves the hen house. Ooh, excuse me. We was just in there laughing and telling jokes. But I have to go, because I got a call. I have to leave. And man, chicken feathers and guts every goddamn well. That's the Democratic Party. Well, it used to be, now they are just flat out dogging out their constituency. And I'll say, Democratic Party, let me tell y'all something. You have every right to point out what y'all think are inadequacies. Y'all have every right to do. I stepped on them. Oh, what these big old cockroaches. Y'all have every right to do that. But see, I need y'all to take heed to this legendary gospel group, the Williams Brothers. And it went something like this: you gotta sweep around your front door. And y'all never do that. Y'all try to convince. Every time it comes to election time, Democratic Party try to get you distracted on some other shit. What's up, Jim? I always get you distracted on some other shit. Hey, look over there, while they're not doing anything in the districts. And the black districts should know what I'm talking about. Y'all have been having these same Democratic politicians, and your Democrats your district don't have anything. Wojo said they love power and control. Yeah, they do. But it's not, but their power and control don't really benefit anybody except for them. These Democratic politicians are the worst. Go to a black district. Go to a lower income district that's democratically ran, or black or lower income, because they're black suburbs. They're doing very well here in Dallas Fort Worth, DeSoto, Lancaster. Let me see, what's that? DeSoto, Lancaster, Cedar Hill. Yeah, they're doing very well in Dallas Fort Worth. But then you go inside the city, Democratic stronghold. Democratic stronghold is, man, it's a damn near plantation. Don't have too many resources. Hell, even the street lights don't 100-watt bulbs. Just crazy. But then when it's time you ask them something about, hey, what about some tangibles in your district, Democratic representative? Well, the Republicans over there making it difficult for people to even air, no water and resources. They always say that. This shit is crazy. It's been working like clockwork for 60 years. And I saw something that was so amazing today. You had that dumbass Reverend Jamal Bryant. He had that octogenarian who's pretty much not even visible, Jesse Jackson. He had him pushing in the wheelchair in Operation Rainbow Push. They're leading a march along with this No Kings or anti-ICE march. Can you believe the organization's supposed to be for black folks? I hear pushing a damn march on behalf of illegal, not the legalized, but the illegal immigrants. And a white guy had to ask Jamal Bryant a real question. All them blacks around there, they didn't ask him anything. So a white guy said, hey, Pastor Jamal, right here, Rainbow Push, you have Jesse Jackson right here in the wheelchair. He just looking like he just zombified. And so, but y'all are fighting for illegal immigrants when it's been known that open borders really affect the African-American community. So how can you justify you fighting for them and you knowing that it negatively affects, open borders negatively affect black communities, African-American communities? And some Negro, and then you're gonna pretend he didn't hear the question. Well, what was the question? I didn't hear you. So the man repeated it. And then the Negro, I guess there's a Negro beside him, said, that's not true. Damn well. And that's how we should be, that's how we, as the black community, should be charging these lame-ass liberal democratic black, so-called black leaders. But we don't. You take someone considered an outlier like me, or folks who they would look to label militant, or they're Trump supporters, or anything to try to devalue you or minimize you when you ask them real questions about them. No, don't bring in the Republicans. Now, we already know about them. We get on their ass all the time. It's been cemented that most of them are racist and they want nothing but all white folks around, and we got that. But let's talk about your ass. Mr. Democrat is supposed to be representing people. They get over 94% of the black vote every goddamn election, but then they get less than 5% of all the resources in the goddamn country. And you're supposed to be the representative. You black nonprofit owner, Rainbow Push, Jamal Bryant, NAACP, all this shit. And we still get less than 5% Asians, Middle Easterns, Nigerians, illegals, as well as Hispanic communities. They get about 30–40% of goddamn resources, and we've been here the longest. We've been only 5%. So yeah, we're supposed to be posing questions like that to these lazy-ass, so-called, I guess, the leadership class of blacks. But they don't like for you to ask them questions. The arrogance and the narcissism of it all. And we don't ask them any questions. We'd rather go to a gala, $150 to $300 to $500 plate gala, and dance with them and hobnob other than ask them any questions. That's our fault. That's our problem. And we keep electing these same people who continue to deliver us less than 4% of the goddamn resources. But I digress. I'm not gonna stay here long because it got a little late, but I appreciate you. Y'all continue to like, share, subscribe. And the last live I got, I gathered at least about, I think, it was 880. Then when I checked it out on yesterday, up to 916. And I'm trying to get at least 1,200. So I need about, 300 more subscribers. Let's go. And I need 2,000 more hours of watch time. So y'all watch the videos, y'all share them, please like, subscribe, have conversations about the videos. So we can get the boy over there. We can go on podcast this thing out. And also, if you have not bought my short story, please check it out. My Father's Day story was about when I met my father for the first time. And when I met him, the first thing he said to me after I rang his doorbell and he came outside on the porch, he said, "Hey, how'd you find me?" And I was like, "Oh, Google Maps, MapQuest." And he said, "Well, I have to give you an A for effort because I've worked aggressively over the years to prevent you from ever finding me." If y'all want to read the rest of that story, please cash app your boy at $ Rico Rivers MSW RICO RIVERS MSW, and please include an email address so I can send you a copy of it. Other than that, I appreciate you. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. It's your man Rico. Until next time, we'll talk. Hold on. Peace.